Like I said, my father was a lawyer, my grandfather was a lawyer, they all had the same name as me. It was very confusing. We had three people around the house, Edward Lehman, Edward Lehman, Edward Lehman, all the same name, and that would just be young guy and middle guy and old guy. And, but I grew up around it, so I understood it. For most of you, you don't have the benefit of having fathers or mothers or brothers or cousins, generally in law. When I first got here, it was better to be a concierge at a hotel, or it was better to be a taxi driver. You can make more money and get more respect than it was to be a lawyer. And I worked for some state-run law firms here, and so it was kind of a very big learning experience that there wasn't given much emphasis on the status of lawyers here. And I think that's all changed. And the nice thing is, and what I even say, when I was on CCTV the other day, they were asking me about the future. And I said, I believe the future is with you young people. It's not with old guys like me. It's with you young people. And whatever old guys like me have been managed to do, it was not as good a system as you have now. That the future about really helping people and changing people and making very good money is right in your own hands. And what you want to do, like I said, is think about yourself as a product. This is all kind of basic stuff, but I just want to point out some things. When you're doing everything now, you have to think like a chess game. Okay, you want to think 2 moves ahead. Where is it that you want to be? Do you want to work at a foreign law firm? Do you want to work in a Chinese law firm? Do you want to go and get extra graduate programs? But where is it ultimately that you want to be? And I think Chinese are very good about organizing these things. But what you're doing is, when you're working now as students, you want to start thinking about what your resume is going to look like. And you want to try, like I said, opportunity is worth more than money. You want to be able to get some kind of skills and knowledge at some legal firm if you can. But again, resumes you want to make, and work experience is the thing that most people are missing. The difference between the American legal system, in my mind, and the Chinese legal system is that and I remember when I went to law school, and it was funny, when I went to law school, I had the same professors, it was really crazy, as my father did, exactly the same ones. And I don't know, they were old people, I don't think they had my grandfather, but they actually had my father. And I was a very angry young man. No one could tell me anything at all. I thought I knew everything. I thought I was very, very smart. And the old professor, I remember, was teaching contracts, who also taught my father, and I don't think he liked me, and I don't think he liked my father, both. But he was teaching, and all he would do was ask me questions. So, what do you think about that, Professor Ding? What do you think about that, Professor Sherwood? What do you think about that, Wong Mao Mao? And I thought, this is not teaching. This is nonsense, right? I can stand up here and ask you a bunch of questions. Teach me. Teach it to me. Spoon feed it to me. That's what I want to do. I want someone to tell me what law is all about. But what we did in the American system, and I was very angry about it, was he tried to challenge me to try to learn it on my own. So we focus primarily with the Socratic method, we focus on problem solving. And in the civil law system, it seems to me, there's more memorization. Let's just memorize the stuff, write it back, not think about it, and later you've got to learn how to do all this stuff. And that's what's difficult, and that's why I think we ought to change and that's why we're working together with the clinic to try to give you people practical experience to deal with clients in real life situations. So what you want to do is take a look at your resume and be honest, don't lie. Try to take a look at something that's positive. You want to be able to send cover letters when you have contact with people, but you can use your relationship. The problem that we have in America, like I said, is even at my law firm, even at the firm I'm at, the people that went to law school, some of them had no contact with law families or law firms or whatever, and other people had a lot of contact with those people. And when you don't know anyone in the legal field, it's very difficult to figure out how to maneuver. It's very difficult to figure out how to excel. And it seems to me there's a lot of people graduating from law programs, but there aren't as many jobs, or there aren't as many positions for those folks, and I think that that's not good. And so we hope to change most of that. But, okay, again, writing cover letters, I think you can get this from English class, but one thing we do is we do ask for, in our firm, we ask for references. You should really think about this, guys. Before you get references, you should think about who you want to put down, because some people will say nasty things about you. So make sure that you understand that these people will actually, agree to be your reference point, and you will be able to successfully get the job, because people do check those references. And so it's important to think of your life in a kind of a horizontal way, because everything you do is going to be judged, whether it's good or bad, in the light of day. Fortunately or unfortunately, we live in the day of high technology. We live in the day of internet, Facebook, and websites, and all kinds of things. And so people can find out much more about us. And so make sure that the stuff on the internet as well is not so crazy. Maybe you might have a website up. Some employers can also find that. Now, what I'm going to talk about here is the interview process. This is no different than getting clients. And I'll tell you what happened. If you want to know the truth about what happened with me, I came over here and I started working with a foreign law firm. And then when Tiananmen Square happened in June 4th of 1989, the law firms, all the foreign firms left. Okay, so I'd been here for about 2 years, and all the foreign law firms left, and so there were no legal firms for me to join, so I went to work for a Chinese state-owned firm in Shanghai, as Professor Xue talked about. After a while, I was looking and looking and looking for a job, but then I realized, you know what, it's probably easier for me to find the client than it is for me to find a job. And so what you have to look at is everything that you do is you're selling yourself. Everything that you wear, every gesture that you make, every kind of article of clothing that you wear, all suggest things about yourself. And you're giving messages to those people, whether that's for an employer or whether that's for a client. And so you must do your absolute best to try to let people know that you are in charge, and when set up your time to be able to talk to your clients. Remember always to prepare for the interview. Number one, this is with the client, and this is if you try to get a job. Learn as much as you can about the people. Okay, learn as much as you can about the organization. If it's your client or if it's for a job, you should. There's so much information on the internet. You should do your homework before you get there, and you should memorize as much stuff as you can about the potential client or the potential employer. So if you're interviewing, you'll have read their website, you'll have read what their mission statement is, you'll have read what their business is all about, so that you're prepared. The other thing is, always try to be early or on time, exactly on time for the meeting, because again, this signals whether you are respectful of other people's time. This signals about your respect for responsibility to get a job or responsibility